which is more important than ever in today's complex geopolitical landscape. Let me focus on a few highlights from the joint statement. First, a 15% all-inclusive tariff cap for the European Union. This is the most favourable trade deal the US has extended to any partner. A wide range of sectors, including strategic industries such as cars, pharmaceuticals, semiconductors and lumber, will benefit from this cap. To get a bit technical, unlike with other trading partners, the 15% cap does not come on top of existing most favoured nation tariffs. Instead, it includes them. Where existing tariffs are already 15% or higher, no additional tariff will apply. This means that the EU will benefit from significantly lower effective tariffs compared to other countries. Second, we have locked in significant exemptions, zero or no zero tariffs in important areas. This includes unavailable natural resources such as quarks, then aircrafts and aircraft parts, generic pharmaceuticals and their ingredients and chemical precursors. Again, this is just the first step. The EU and the US will explore exempting additional sectors in the future. Third, tariffs on cars and car parts will drop to 15% starting August 1st, helping our automotive industry remain globally competitive. Fourth, recognizing our shared challenge and the benefits of joint action, the EU and the US intend to collaborate to shield our economies from overcapacity in the steel and aluminium sectors. In practice, we will work together on tariff rate quota solutions to ensure security of supply in these critical industries. On our side, the Commission is taking concrete steps to remove tariffs on all US industrial goods and expand market access for US seafood and agricultural products. The EU will also strengthen its energy security by procuring US LNG, oil and nuclear energy products valued at $750 billion through 2028. Additionally, the EU will enhance its AI capabilities by securing a steady supply of AI chips from the US for European computing centres valued at least $40 billion. Our companies foresee $600 billion in new EU investments in strategic US sectors through 2028, and we will increase defence procurement from the US to strengthen NATO interoperability. All in all, this is a serious strategic deal. We are fully behind it, and we are committed to delivering. Let me say this clearly. The alternative, a trade war with sky-high tariffs and political escalation, helps no one. It hurts jobs, it hurts growth, and it damages businesses across both the EU and the US. And this is not theoretical, as nearly 5 million European jobs, including many in SMEs, would be at risk. This deal avoids that path. It builds confidence, it brings stability, and it strengthens a vital transatlantic bond at a time where unity and partnership are more important than ever. In conclusion, I would like to thank EU member states and the European Parliament for their continued support. We have kept them closely involved throughout the process. And I look forward to continuing our collaboration on the next steps, as we will need to translate key elements of the joint statement into legislative proposals. Finally, let me appreciate my US counterparts, Secretary Latnik, US Trade Representative Ambassador Greer, and their teams for the positive and cooperative relationship my team and I have developed with them over these months of intense meetings and negotiations. Thank you.
Many thanks, Commissioner. We can now start taking your questions. Andy Bounds.
Hi, thanks very much. First day back from holiday, so good timing. Can I just ask a couple of questions? First, when will you put forward the legislative proposal to do what the US wants in order to result it? And how long will it take to get that through the system? And what will be the involvement of the European Parliament in that process? And secondly, can I just ask what qualification EU car producers will have to show under the rules of origin to qualify for the 15% tariff? Thanks.
Commissioner.
Thank you very much. And so, Andy, welcome back from holidays. And if it comes to your questions, so as you would, I'm sure you probably already have read it. If not, you will, I'm sure, go very thoroughly through the text of the joint statement. There is a paragraph which says that US will apply the 15% tariffs for cars as of first of the month in which the legislative proposals for lowering the tariff is launched. So our firm intention, and we are working very hard with my colleagues at DG Trade, SecGen and all Commission services to present these legislative proposals and launch the process still this month. I informed about this yesterday. Secretary Latnik. He assured me if this is the case, the 15% tariffs would be applied retroactively as of 1st of August, and I believe that this is welcome news for our car industry, who was bleeding a lot of cash over the last few months, and therefore our determination to launch the process this month is very clear. Concerning the rules of origin, of course, this would require more detailed discussions and negotiations. We are preparing for that. But I think that in really more than, I would say, 120, 30 hours of personal face-to-face time I had with my counterparts over the last couple of months, I think we made very clear conclusions. First, there is a huge benefit in having transatlantic standards. Our industry would benefit a lot. The cost will go down. And of course, it would have a huge impact on standard management and standard forming across, I would say, the global economy. And therefore, we decided to work closely on standards, to have a detailed discussions on the rules of origin. But of course, it would require further work. But what is very important that we'll both approach it in a good faith, and I'm convinced that we'll find the best possible solutions for our industries and businesses.
Thank you, Commissioner. Carl.
Carl de Meyer for Les Echos. Commissioner, you didn't say anything about the digital legislation of the EU. I remember after the framework agreement in Scotland, there were somehow contradictory assessments from the US side and the EU side. Are you confident that now the interpretation is reconciled?
Thank you very much for that question. You will find one paragraph on the cooperation in the digital sphere and cybersecurity, but this applies mostly to the usage of the networks, and I would say this type of the cooperation. And as you would probably recall, it was a few months ago I was signing a digital agreement with Singapore. We've been upgrading our trade agreement with Japan. Just to add, I would say, this digital element in our trade agreements, because the agreements with these countries we signed before the digital became so important. So what we are actually doing here is actually creating the conducive space for enhancing, of course, the digital trading possibilities between EU and US. But your question is related to the DMA, DST, DSA, and we kept these issues out of the trade negotiations. We've been focusing on what was very clearly the priority, and therefore you will not find a reference to it in the joint statement. Will it come later on? Will it be discussed? Our relationship is so vast that for sure there will be a lot of issues which will be discussed, but we of course been very clear that for us the regulatory autonomy is absolutely important, and that was our position from the beginning until the conclusion of this joint statement.
Thank you, Commissioner. Janusz.
Thanks. Janusz Anbach, Amman Table Briefings. You haven't answered Andy's question on the Parliament's involvement, so I would like to re-ask that. What's the Parliament's role in lowering the EU tariffs for the US? And then secondly, in the joint statement, you write that the European Union further plans to work with the United States to adopt and maintain technology security requirements in line with those of the United States. And the United States will endeavor to facilitate such exports once such requirements are in place, referring to AI chip exports. Does that mean that the EU will only gain access to US AI chips once it has applied the US export security or economic security requirements?
Thank you very much also for reminding me about the first question. So what I was referring to was that what we are striving at and working very hard on is to launch the process, the legislative process still this month, so our car industry can benefit from retroactive application of the 15% tariffs as of 1st of August. Just before I was talking to you, I was briefing EU ambassadors, I was briefing the key members of the European Parliament about the joint statement and results of our negotiations, and I also explained to them what we proposed is to make the legislative proposal, which would be then of course discussed by the co-legislators. So it would be the ordinary legislative procedure, and of course I was pleading with them already this morning that we should work constructively on these very important issues, to be swift and to conclude the work with the full involvement of European Parliament and of course the Council to deliver the results we are committed to and which is reflected in the joint statement. Second questions you've been asking about AI chips. I'm sure you would be recalling the surprise of the European Union about one of the last decisions of Biden administration about the so-called diffusion rules, where some of the countries have been not allowed to purchase the high-end AI chips. So it was kind of, the EU was divided into the two groups, and you can imagine that all member states which have been in the second group were not happy about it at all. So it was one of the first issues I raised with my counterparts. I'm very glad that they took it on board. They understand the importance of the high-end AI chips for European economy. And in the joint statement, what you see is our intention to purchase at least $40 billion worth of these top AI chips for our computing centers in Europe. What we discussed with my US counterparts is the fact that they also want to make sure that once these AI chips are in Europe, they will stay in Europe, that they will be used for the benefit of European economy, that they will not be transshipped somewhere else. So there will have to be, I would say, the recognized partner with the clear, I would say, security credentials. But I would say this is the standard process if we are talking about the sensitive technologies, and so it's nothing new. For us, of course, what is important is to have the access to these top technologies, and we are, of course, ready to work together with our US partners to make sure that we, of course, respect all the security requirements of both parties, EU and US, just to make sure that sensitive technology will not end in the wrong hands. And therefore, I do not see any problem with that, because clearly our certified companies are absolutely ready to make sure that the appropriate handling and use of high sensitive top technology, in this case AI chips, will be properly organized and maintained. Language in the paragraph which is talking about the digital technologies, which is also talking about network usage fees, and this comes back to the response I just gave a few minutes ago, that simply for the digital trade sometimes you have to upgrade the rules. You have to see if there are not some non-tariff barriers which are actually prohibiting or limiting the trade in the digital services and digital trading practices. So this is what is behind this paragraph, and of course, as you can imagine, this is a very technical issue, but if you're asking me if this is about regulatory environment, so this is not the case, and this paragraph does not refer to DMA or DSA.
Next question. We'll take another question online from Sabina. Sabina, are you there? Can you connect? I'm going to give you one last chance, Sabina.
Sorry, here I am. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
So, please, what are the prospects for tariffs on wine and spirits?
Yeah, the tariffs on the wine, spirits and beer was one of very important offensive interests of the European Union. Unfortunately, here we didn't succeed to get this sector and this category among the sectors which would continue to be on the MFN level. I just would like to add one very important word, and this is yet. Because our US colleagues, they know that this is our offensive interest. That's something which is very important for us, and therefore I would also refer you to the paragraph which is very important for us, which says that both parties, the United States and the EU, are ready to look at other sectors where we could lower these tariffs in the future. It's not precise wording, I can find it there, but I'm sure you will find it in a joint statement. So these doors are not closed forever. We've been very clear that this is very important for us, and we'll be working with our US partners over the time to open the number of the sectors where we would like to see, for the benefit, I believe, on consumers on both sides, and for the benefit of the trade, to further lower the tariffs, especially in these very important categories, to the MFN level.
Thank you, Commissioner. Coming back to the room, we have Edith.
Thank you very much. Edith Hancock with Dow Jones. Thank you for the question. It's really a follow-up on the wines and spirits. So you say that this has been a big issue for the European Union. We know that member states have been lobbying quite hard for that. It's a huge issue for industry on either side of the Atlantic as well. How soon, when you say yet, how soon do you think exemptions will come out? And can you speak to anything about the appetite from the US side, from all these long conversations you've been having with your counterparts, of, you know, how amenable they would be to that exemption? Thank you.
I don't want to say that that would be easy, or that it will happen the next week. Clearly, you know, we've been working on it since we started these negotiations since February, and there have been different opinions on this issue coming from the US side. In the end, what I understand was very important for our American partners was the balance, the number of the so-called carve-outs, and the overall level and the balance of the agreement, which would be acceptable for the President of the United States. So I would say that what was very important is to stabilize the situation, to start from somewhere. We are starting from the joint statement. We are opting for predictability, certainty in this regard, and of course this would be the issue which would be on the table, and we'll be looking different ways how we can address this issue. So, but I also do not want to be in the position to offer the false promises right now, because we've been working very hard on that. This one we didn't get in, but what I can tell you that there is clear commitment from the European Commission that we'll be putting on the table, and we've been working as hard as we can to expand the number of sectors. And for us, two particular important areas. One is wine, spirit and beer, and second, of course, is steel and aluminium, because these are two sectors where I believe we are mutually complementary, and where I believe that on both sides of Atlantic we would benefit hugely if we would manage to go back to MFN levels.
Thank you, Commissioner. If I don't see any more hands in the room, I'll come back to you, János. Let me go online again. Finbar.